Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. Recently we did our favorite players from the Atlantic Division. My dad chimed in as well with a few videos of his own. And now we're here to talk about the Metro Division, if you can't tell from the title. So, we're going to start with Washington. Who's your favorite player from Washington? And I know this might be a hard one because you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan.
Yeah, I would instantly go with Braden Holtby.
Yeah? That's a good choice.
Because to me, he is in consideration for the top three for best goalies in the NHL, perhaps the entire world. He's always calm, he's always collected, and he just seems like a real genuine guy. And, he takes part in a lot of things off the ice. Like this year, he was actually in a gay pride parade as well. So he's a real genuine guy. He does a lot of charity work as well. He does a lot of amazing things off the ice. Really like him. He's a great goaltender. He would be my pick.
My pick is your second favorite player off Washington, and that's Alexander Ovechkin. That's the reason I wore this hat.
Second favorite player.
Yeah. I think he's... what he does off the ice is amazing. He doesn't get enough credit for that. He's a superstar and he gets lots of goals and points and stuff, but what he does off the ice is pretty important. He is involved with the kids and he's always signing autographs. He's really nice to people, and I think that's important. He also does a lot for his country. But on the ice, his skill is unmatched just when it comes to goal scoring. He has the most accurate shot in the league, in my opinion. And, he does have his faults, as you like to rant about, and I don't disagree with probably the majority of them. I think he's a pretty big defensive liability. And so, anyway, he has his faults, but he is my favorite player off Washington.
Surprise, surprise.
All right, let's see what Dad has to say.
My favorite players from the Metropolitan Division over the last year would have to start with Andrei Burakovsky from the Washington Capitals. 22 years old, just a young fella, 6'3", Austrian guy. Played a couple of seasons now, done very, very well. And he was a good pick in the first round of the draft when he was drafted. So good find for Washington. He's worked out to be a very, very good, solid player. And I like Andrei Burakovsky.
All right, moving on to your favorite team, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, I think I could probably pick what your favorite player is. I'm assuming it's Sidney Crosby.
Oh, yeah. Hands down.
Favorite player in the world, let alone on
Sidney Crosby.
Pittsburgh, yeah.
Yep. To me, he is the best player to come into the NHL since Mario Lemieux.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He is the best player since Mario Lemieux, and Mario Lemieux came in 1984. So that's a long duration between 1984 and 2005 when Crosby was drafted first overall. He's a complete player. He really is. And, like last night, he showed up in a big game when they needed him the most. He was stellar last night.
I was not happy with Crosby last night. His antics with Subban and him throwing that water bottle on the ice. Ugh.
It slipped. What are you talking about?
I don't know. My favorite player off Pittsburgh is Gensel. He's young. He's upcoming.
Yep.
He plays like he's 30.
Yeah, he does.
And he's 19 or something like that. He's amazing. He's got an accurate shot. He's always in the right spot at the right time. He's a really, really smart hockey player. And for that reason, he's my favorite player off Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he plays like a mature veteran, and meanwhile, he's only played 40-some games.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, he's incredible. He's a true talent. You got to give a lot of respect to the Penguins scouting because they were able to pick up on this kid when a lot of other franchises kind of passed him over.
Yeah, big time.
They developed him in Wilkes-Barre for a little bit, and he's really honed his skills. But of course, playing with Sidney Crosby does help.
Absolutely. Same could be said with Sheary as well.
Yeah,
another talented young.
Same with Rust. He plays with Crosby on and off. So yeah.
Pittsburgh, of all the players in Pittsburgh, the talent is amazing. But the guy who's impressed me the most is Jake Gensel, who's played up in the playoffs so far on the first line with Crosby. And played extremely well. A very opportunistic player, young, and a great story Gensel has as well. He actually, I think I saw a piece on, maybe it was NBC. It's a picture of Phil Kessel when Kessel was playing college hockey. And Gensel was like 10 or 12, and he was the stick boy in that team. And there's a picture of him kind of behind Kessel on the bench. And now they're playing on the same team in the NHL. I just think that's a great story. I'm going to try to read up more about that story. But I like Gensel. 22 years old. He's a center. 33 points in only 40 games that he played. So he really stepped up in the regular season, and he's done very, very well in the playoffs as well.
All right, moving on to the Rangers.
The Rangers.
Yeah.
This one is probably going to surprise a lot of people, but I would instantly take Tanner Glass.
Yeah, you've mentioned that a couple times before.
Tanner
You're a big
Glass.
Tanner Glass fan.
Yeah, because I remember saying earlier, I said if the Rangers want to have any type of playoff success, they need to dress Tanner Glass. They dressed him in game 1 to open the playoffs, and who gets the first goal in the playoffs this year? Tanner effing Glass.
And they won the game.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
He can play hockey. He can fight. He can take on defensive responsibilities. He's an awesome two-way player, and he is a key cog in the machine of that franchise if they keep him in the lineup. I love Tanner Glass.
Boom.
Yes.
Boom. Mine is Antti Ranta, or Antti Ranta, however you want to say it. I know he's not a player, but he plays in the game of hockey. So, he's one of my favorite goalies in the National Hockey League. His numbers are great, and I firmly believe that he could be a starter in the NHL. And who knows, maybe he'll be a starter next year in Calgary, Winnipeg, Las Vegas. I have a feeling he's not going to stick with the Rangers. So
we'll see.
I
don't think so. I mean, there's a lot of talk, if you're talking about any goalie who's a backup looking to be a starter, it seems that everybody concentrates on the Calgary Flames because it's no secret that I think Calgary's going to land somebody.
Exactly, yeah.
New York Rangers, Brady Shea impressed me the most of all the players on the team. He's just a young fellow as well, but he's really got good numbers. A little high in the penalty minutes, but that's the kind of game I think he plays. He impressed me with his ability to be a presence on the ice. Big guy, 6'3", liked him.
Moving on to Columbus. Now there's a hard-fought series between Pittsburgh and Columbus, not only in the playoffs, but in the regular season as well. So you might have a hard time picking someone off Columbus, but I think I know who you're going to pick because I think you're a pretty big fan of this guy. Who is it?
I can tell you who I hate the most in Columbus, but for the player that I like the most in Columbus, it would be Werenski.
Yeah. What a talent. What a great young talent.
Unbelievable how he showcased his capabilities in that series against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I felt so bad for the poor kid when he went out with that injury.
Right, yeah.
And he showed a lot of poise too because he came back, but then it had to leave because of the swelling. He couldn't see out of his eye and so on. But what an amazing talent at such a young age. He plays like a veteran defenseman who's been in the league for 7 or 8 years.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
You give his current age, and he's already completely developed for a top 2 defenseman. That's how good this kid is. So I think it would be crazy for me to pick anyone else but him.
It's going to be really exciting for every Columbus fan at home to watch this guy progress in his career, and great for the franchise.
Yep.
My favorite Columbus player is Boone Jenner. Number one, because his name is awesome. Boone Jenner.
Boone Jenner.
How could you not like a guy named Boone Jenner?
Yeah.
Otherwise,
That's great.
I wish he was a little more consistent with his numbers. He's only been in the league 4 years. But I really like his game. He's a great two-way player. He's a strong centerman. His face-off numbers are pretty good. And yeah, I just like him.
That's a good pick. I mean, I've always been a fan of Boone Jenner. And the name, too.
He's a bit of a sniper, too. He scored 30 goals last year, so not bad.
That surprised a lot of people, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Columbus Blue Jackets, Zach Werenski, 19 years old, 47 points, 78 games, and he's D, and if I'm trying to build a team, I want good D. Werenski seems to be a guy that was a solid on the blue line, and I wouldn't mind having him on my team.
All right, next up on the list is the Islanders. Who's your favorite player off the Islanders?
I'm going to take Johnny Boychuk.
Yeah, he's my second favorite player.
Yeah, because I think he's kind of underrated a little bit, but he was also a big factor with the Bruins when he was there, and I'm sure there's a lot of Bruins fans that were rather sad to see him go.
Oh, absolutely. I know Jason was. If you've ever seen this channel for an extended period of time, you know that Jason joins us here for a couple times, and he runs our podcast. He's a big Boston Bruins fan, and he was very, very sad to see Boychuk go.
I know a few other Boston Bruins fans who were very sad to see him go because he was a big part of the Bruins blue line during his years there, and now he's a big part of the Islanders blue line because he has a lot of offensive capabilities as well. And to me, defensively, he's very solid too. He's kind of almost a two-way defenseman in a lot of aspects. So yeah, I would take Johnny Boychuk.
Great pick. My pick is John Tavares. If you watch my top 15 favorite players in the National Hockey League, Tavares is on there. So that's kind of the typical pick off the Islanders, but he's definitely one of my favorite players in the league, and of course on the Islanders. So I mean, you can't say enough good things about Tavares. He's such a great guy on and off the ice. He battles hard. He loves his team. He loves to win, and
the New York Islanders. I liked Anthony Beauvillier. I watched him quite a bit during the regular season. In fact, I even got to see the Islanders play in Toronto earlier this year. He's only a young fellow, 19 years old, from Quebec. He'd be a good fit in the Montreal Canadiens if they could ever get him. He's a left winger, put up 24 points in the regular season. For a young fellow, that's pretty darn good for his first real season in the NHL.
All right, moving on to Philadelphia. I have a feeling you had a hard time with this one too, because there's a lot of rivalries here in the Metro Division. So as a Pittsburgh fan, it's probably hard to cheer for some players off these other teams. So Philadelphia, who's your favorite player?
Well, it was actually easier than you think.
Really?
I like Philadelphia in a lot of aspects because I like the style that they bring to the ice. I'm a big fan of that. And at the same time, I'm a big fan of games in Philly because the fans can be ruthless and relentless to the opposition. And as a guy viewing from home, I mean, that's what makes great atmosphere, great television, that sells me to the game when the fans in the arena are that engaged as well.
Absolutely.
It just creates that aura around the game. For me, it'd be Wayne Simmons.
Yeah,
I love what he brings to the game, his physicality, his goal-scoring ability, and he can also be a great playmaker, an agitator. The guy can do it all. There's nothing Wayne Simmons cannot do.
He had a great year.
Yeah, he did.
There was a point in the season where he was actually challenging for, I think he was in the top 3 in points.
Oh, yeah, he was right up there for a little while.
And he was trending. Yep. It's still going up, but unfortunately Philadelphia kind of, had their issues and stuff and they fell down. But, Wayne Simmons is amazing. Great pick. My pick is the Dutch Gretzky, Dale Weiss. I actually liked him when he played for the Canadiens.
Yeah.
And I liked him when he went to Chicago. And then he came over to Philadelphia. And I just think he's great. He's a funny guy. He's a really, really funny guy. And he just keeps surprising a lot of people. He's a very consistent player in the last 5 years. I just like the guy.
I think we should have had him maybe in the hockey hair video,
yeah,
perhaps.
Yeah, maybe.
Because he's got an amazing head of hair.
He does, yeah.
Philadelphia, sort of like my thinking on Boston, I don't really want to have to pick anyone from Philadelphia because I'm programmed to dislike everybody in Philadelphia. But if I have to pick one, it's going to be Travis Konechny from London, Ontario. A very good hockey player. Put up 28 points, although he had 49 penalty minutes in the last regular season. Not the biggest guy on the planet, so you see those penalty minutes from a guy who's only 5'10", you know that he's probably trying a little harder than other players are, and he's getting results for it. So good for him.
All right, second last on the list is Carolina. Who's your favorite player off Carolina?
Jeff Skinner.
Jeff Skinner, yeah. I think a lot of people like Jeff Skinner.
I really like Jeff Skinner, but at the same time, he's kind of like the Steven Stamkos of that franchise. He's always injured.
Yeah.
Poor Skinner. But when he's in the lineup, he brings so many things to that team. His offensive capabilities, to me, you could really argue he is their greatest offensive weapon right now in Carolina.
He had a great year.
Yeah, he really did it. And I really hope moving forward he can stay healthy and develop more because he's only been in the league several years, but his mark's already been made as a top offensive threat.
Carolina's kind of making a push here. They've got a lot of young talent coming up, and they've got a few solidified goal scorers on the team. They need to do a little bit of work on their defensive core, and then they brought in Scott Darling recently as a replacement for, I assume, Cam Ward. So it's going to be really interesting to see Carolina in the next couple of years. They could be very competitive.
Yeah, Darling was huge for them. I'm a big fan of Darling.
I almost picked Darling as my favorite player of Carolina, but Sebastian Aho is fantastic. He was my favorite rookie this year. I think he's absolutely incredible. He's just a small guy, but he plays a big game. He's fast. He plays smart. I just like everything about him.
Carolina, I really like Sebastian Aho. This is the Finnish Sebastian Aho. We haven't seen the Swedish Sebastian Aho coming over yet, but there's lots of talk about him maybe being picked up by a North American team. His European 4-year contract runs out, so the Swedish Sebastian Aho may be a favorite of mine next year. Who knows? I don't know where he'll end up. But the Finnish Sebastian Aho has done a very, very good job for the Carolina Hurricanes this season. 49 points. He's only 19 years old, plays left wing. Very, very good pickup for them. And he's not a great big guy either. He's only 5'10", which in hockey size is not really big. But he's really, really been a good find for the Carolina Hurricanes.
All right, last on the list is New Jersey. Who's your favorite player of New Jersey?
Camilleri.
Camilleri, yeah.
Camilleri. I've always liked Camilleri regardless if he was playing for Montreal, if he was playing for New Jersey, and so on. I like what he brings to the game. He's got the perfect hockey smile.
Yeah.
He really does. But even at his age, he's still putting up consistent numbers.
Yeah,
it's as if the guy just never slows down.
He's a small guy.
He is.
And he plays a big game.
Yeah, he does.
He's always in the right spot. He's
very gritty. He's very physical, and I really like that from players. I like a guy who can, score a goal, but at the same time he can be very physical and mix it up with the opposition. And Camilleri is the perfect example of that.
Well said. Mine is Taylor Hall. I was a big fan of Taylor Hall in Edmonton, and I don't know if everyone was a big fan of Taylor Hall in Edmonton. I know that he had some haters, but I always loved Taylor Hall. I think he was great, and I was sad to see him leave Edmonton, as I'm sure some of you were. But I think he was a great addition to New Jersey. They did struggle this year, obviously, but I think he's going to be great for the team moving forward, and I hope he has a bright future there.
And finally, the New Jersey Devils. They had a rough season. If I have to pick somebody who shone quite well, it would be Adam Henrique. He's been a consistent player for the Devils. He's now up to 27 years of age, which means that he's got lots of experience, but he's far from over the hill. He's a center, and centers are in demand. Henrique would be my pick. If I could pluck anybody from the New Jersey Devils for my team, that's the guy it would be. So that's my thinking on the Metropolitan Division from the 2016-2017 season.
All right, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. We hope you liked it. Justin, thanks for joining me, and Dad, thanks for filming those videos. Let us know down in the comments below who your favorite player is from every single team in the Metropolitan Division. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one. Adios.